Just hit the go live. Hey everybody, how are you doing today?
Doing well. How are you,
Doing
ma'am?
well, doing well. Hey,
I'm
Kim.
great. I
Yeah.
cannot complain. It's been a beautiful January so far. The
Yes.
weather has been absolutely literally unbelievable.
hmm
And I'm
Love it.
enjoying it. What about you guys?
Same here. I'm enjoying this weather because we got some like springtime weather in January. It's
Mm.
unheard of. But I always say, be not deceived. Winter's not mocked. She wants her 3 months.
Okay, you know what?
She wants her three. She wants her 3 months. I love it.
You know, Aaron, Aaron is it's not even about that. Let's just enjoy it. I don't want to think about that. What's the weather like where you are, Tim? Where are you, first of all?
I am here in Atlanta, so it's. I think the high is like 52, but because it's sunny, it really feels like 60s, 70s.
Oh, see, that's even better.
hmm
But if you're in Michigan in January, we could almost be in some polar vortex temperatures.
hmm
So for it to be 40 degrees right now, that feels like an Indian summer.
hmm
Wait a
And
minute.
if
What's the Indian summer?
when you go past summer, but it's kind of filters into fall, but you still have warm like weather
hmm
for
Oh,
summer.
okay,
Extended
okay,
summer.
Yeah.
okay, okay.
So that's
Nice,
kind
nice.
of what it feels like outside. And I'm enjoying every last bit of it because I don't like driving in snow.
Mm.
So I'm loving this.
I respect all you guys that are good with understanding negative temperatures and staying stressful.
Exactly. Because one year it was like a negative 25
Yeah.
almost.
Yeah. Come on, get
And
some of that, Tim. Come get some of that.
yeah, negative 25. And it was
No,
ridiculous.
no, no. You know what? One of my coworkers of another persuasion, he went snowboarding. He was like, "Tim, why don't you go snowboarding with me, man?" And I'm like, yeah, I just never thought of snow and vacationing like fun." And
Right.
Yeah.
he was like, "I know
Yeah.
what you're saying." Oh yeah, oh white boat crazy.
I don't want to take a vacation to no snow. I
Yeah.
want to. It's got to be something beautiful.
hmm
Yeah.
So listen, everybody. We have Tim, and I do not want to put your name Gerard. Did I say it right?
What is it? Tim Gerard.
Okay. With us today, he was here last year as Tim Arnold, which is still his name, but he's rebranding. So we'll talk about that when we come back. But in the meantime, I wanted to tell everybody, we told everybody last week that we were going to do our podcast incoming video when we start off. And thanks to Aaron for creating our new theme for the podcast. We're going to play that. So when we come back, we'll talk to Tim. We'll talk about the icebreaker. And think about this icebreaker, guys, before we come back. The icebreaker is, what is something that you were paying for that was kind of taken away from you because you didn't pay for it? Or however you want to imagine that, like maybe some garnishments, or have you ever experienced that? And then what did you do to come on top, to get back on top? Because, and like Tim said, when we were off the grid, everybody has a story. Your secret is safe with us. And
In
I
the
just
internet.
and the internet. But
I
whatever you
know.
don't want to share, don't share. But the point I'm saying, if you want to be a part of the conversation, please, whatever you do, share the video. And with that being said, where are we going today, guys?
All the way
All
there.
the way
We're
there.
going all the way there.
Where are we going today? All the way there. Let's go. Where are we going today? 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 Where are we going today?
First and foremost, thank you for the video. It is fire. And I had nothing to do with the video. Aaron completely did that video on his own. Like, I had no input. He just sent it to me, and I was like, okay, that's nice. Like, I didn't pick a thing, which actually
Love
felt
it.
good, by the way, because I'm 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 not gonna say micromanager because that sounds like I'm terrible, but I love to like have my input in things, and I'm glad you took that project on. That was awesome.
You're welcome.
I appreciate it. So
That's hot.
listen, guys, it was hot. It was fire. I'm like, okay. We on the map. We on the map. So listen, guys, we have Tim with us today. So before we so let's do the icebreaker, and then we'll go into introducing Tim. So Aaron, we're gonna start with you.
Oh, have I ever lost something due to non-payment?
Yeah, or you was about to lose something or something finances.
Nope, I never have. I've never lost anything due to non-payment.
Okay.
Uh, uh, not that I can think of. My story is just cut and dry. I don't have anything.
Okay. Well, that's okay. That's a wonderful thing.
Mm-hmm.
You've never had any financial issues. That's beautiful.
No, I didn't say that.
Okay.
I said I never been taken away.
Okay. What about you, Tim?
I can't say that I've had anything taken away. However, I've had many threats.
Yeah.
Just kind of no discipline. Just only one. I made sure the high level stuff stayed paid, but some of that low level stuff,
Yeah.
I did light, utilities. When the threat came, that's when I paid it.
Okay.
Or just, I mean, one day it took me 45 minutes to find $1 in my car to put gas in my car.
Oh wow.
I had to find a change in the car.
The struggle is real.
Really?
That's what's up.
So yeah.
So for me, my mom say never lost anything to repossession either. That's a blessing.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, never lost anything necessarily to repossession. Yes and no. Because what I decided when I divorced, I had shared a property with my ex-husband. And when you live in this little la world when you're married, because you have these two big incomes coming in.
Mm-hmm.
And so when he left, I realized like my one income cannot carry this.
Mm-hmm.
I went to Target one day and the lady was like, oh, you don't have any money. And I'm like, oh, that's a lie. I just got paid. Well, I didn't realize other bills were coming out. Right. Mm-hmm. So I'm in Target like, what in the world? Then it dawned on me like, I have one income and I'm out here shopping like I still have two incomes.
Mm-hmm.
So what I did is, because I decided I did not want them to come and take anything from me because they wasn't going to put me out. So I'm just going to get out. And so I left and made amends later with those things. But it just was a lot that came crashing down. And that was a really, 2009 was a really tough year for me. So I lost it, but I didn't lose it because they came and took it. I just gave it back, if that makes sense. Okay. So that's my story. And now you guys know that I'm not perfect. I really hated to reveal that to you guys, but somebody's got to tell the truth.
Why?
I know I'm being funny, Tim.
Oh, okay.
Everybody knows I'm not perfect.
Oh, okay.
I just found that out. So.
I'm gonna let y'all deal with that.
Well, now you know, Aaron. Now you know. Mm-hmm. But listen, Tim, I'm glad to have you back, and so we want you to introduce yourself and then also tell us about your rebranding.
Yeah, awesome. Well, first, thank you, Keela, to you and Tanya for inviting me back. Pleasure, Aaron. Pleasure to meet you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Really glad to get to kind of know you before the show started. So yeah, I'm Tim Gerard. I am that money coach. I am a financial coach, and I'll just talk about the rebranding. I started coaching. I don't even when I start. I don't even remember when I started coaching. It just kind of evolved over time.
Okay.
But I started. I mean, my journey started from, um, you know, a lot of bad, horrible financial habits
Mm.
coming up. You know, just culture. You know, seeing people in my neighborhood, own family members. You know, I knew the backgrounds and the definitions of repossessions and and um, what do you call bankruptcies before I
Mm-hmm.
understood 401ks. So
Okay.
just because of, you know, what I saw around me, and so you know, I remember my family and I sitting in front of, um, uh, or my wife and I sitting in front of a financial coach, and because we were just starting off and we were having our issues,
Mhm.
and she said, "Y'all have a problem with money. Y'all have a problem with how you think together about money."
Mm.
And that was 1,000% me.
Mhm.
Nothing to do with her. It was 1,000% me. So I had to own that.
Mhm.
So I just took that journey and just sat at the feet. I mean, my background is finance and accounting, but it didn't
Mm-hmm.
mean anything.
Oh
Uh,
wow.
yeah, so I just had to sit at the feet, learn, um, and I just went on a journey and just, you know, until I just made a 180-degree turn.
Mhm.
Wow.
And so just implementing habits and disciplines and, you know, a lot of practices that I help people with. You know,
Okay.
everything that I talk to people about are, you know, by and large, things that I had to implement into my own life.
Mhm.
Okay.
I just kind of started sharing with people as people started seeing the results in my life.
Mm-hmm.
I just started sharing, and then the more I shared, you know, I was just encouraged to just kind of launch more out there.
Mhm.
And I think that's key too, because sometimes people will start these things. I mean, it could be out of pure passion,
Mhm.
but when you don't really see that evidence in their life, you're like, okay, you still struggling like me. So why am I going to invest in what you talking about?
Mhm.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
when people see that you're changing, it makes them want to say, well, tell me what you're doing.
yeah. And the key, you said changing because you know I continue to evolve.
Mm-hmm.
I continue to, you know, make adjustments. Um, Steph and I were talking the other day, and just like, okay, what kind of tweaks do we need to start making? You know, as I mentioned at the top of the show, we're doing a project here. So even though, you know, we've seen some successes, you know, we've never arrived. So
Mhm.
Okay.
talk about what kind of tweaks do we need to make. Uh,
Mhm.
That's
you,
very true. That's very true.
Mhm.
you know, I've seen some successes, but you know, the journey is a journey. You
It
know?
is. It definitely is a journey.
So yeah,
So I'm glad to have you back. Tanya and I are absolutely happy to have you back with us because, you know, the beginning of the year, everybody is trying to get some things in order. They're
Mhm.
back at the gyms. Like you go past the parking lots right now, the gym parking lots are packed.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah,
I mean, I'll give them till about the end of February and we'll be able to park again. But the point I'm making is people are trying to get their lives in order. So I
mhm,
love that we start the year off with the financial part of it.
Mhm.
yeah.
So we're going to jump into some questions. But before that, because we do know that it is the Martin Luther King week in observance.
Mhm.
So we just wanted to pay tribute to Martin Luther King. And we're going to just, you know, do that right quick. And that is
Awesome.
Aaron's segment of the show.
Thank you very much. So yeah, happy Martin Luther King Day. So here's 8 facts about Martin Luther King's life that I don't think a lot of people know. Okay. So his real first and his born name was Michael King.
Mm-hmm.
And you being in Atlanta, sir, you probably know all of these.
Okay. So,
But he changed his name to Martin Luther after the whole the reformer Martin Luther.
mhm,
He adopted his philosophy and his name. But his father changed his name from Michael King to Martin Luther King after Martin Luther King did it.
Mm-hmm.
So that
I
was,
didn't know that.
yeah, that was a cool little fact. Did you know that Martin Luther King skipped 2 grades in high school?
Hmm.
He skipped the
wasn't he at
ninth.
Morehouse at like 16 or something like that?
Yeah, yeah. He skipped the 9th grade and he skipped the 12th grade. So he started
Wow.
Morehouse at 15
Oh, 15. Okay. Yeah.
and graduated at 19.
Wow, he was smart.
His civil rights attitude and his stick-to-itiveness came one day where his father was driving him in a car and he got stopped by a white cop. And the white cop called his dad boy.
Mm.
His father pointed to Martin Luther King Jr. and said, "That's a boy. I'm a man." And Martin Luther King never forgot how his father stood up. So that just kind of started his whole journey of defiance,
Okay.
a nonviolent defiance. Number 4, Martin Luther King was stabbed by a mentally ill black woman named Isophine or something like that. Her name was Isophine Curry at a book signing in Harlem in 1958.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
she died of natural causes in 1995, and she was 98 years old.
Wow.
She never served any jail time, but she spent the next 25 years after the stabbing in a mental institution.
Hmm.
And the King family never pressed charges because they were nonviolent.
Wow.
Number 5, Martin Luther King was jailed over 30 times. Number 6, there are 40 states that have Dr. Martin Luther King Street Avenue Boulevard.
Wow.
So 40 states, but there are over 900 streets named after this man.
Wow.
Yeah. Martin Luther King's younger brother, A.D. King, was found drowned in a pool. The mysterious part of it was everybody knew he had a bad heart, so why would he be in a pool swimming? So this happened almost 1 year after the King assassination.
Wow.
And to make matters even worse, in 1974, one of my favorite people was born that year too. In 1974, Martin Luther King's his mother, Alberta King, was murdered in church by a black man
Wow.
named Marcus Wayne Chenault. He said that he had a divine intervention and his voice told him to kill King's father. But since King's mother was closer, playing the organ Sunday morning, he killed her.
That's terrible.
He received the death penalty, but it was reduced to life imprisonment. And here's the reason why. The King family is nonviolent.
Okay, you know what? I'm not laughing because it's a serious matter, but they just don't press charges. But okay, go.
Yeah. So those are 8 lesser known facts about Dr. Martin Luther King.
Well, they chose nonviolence, but I probably would have chosen the Malcolm X part of it.
Oh yeah,
I definitely would have been Malcolm X on it.
Yeah.
But it's not about Malcolm X today. It's about Martin Luther King. So we appreciate all the wonderful things that he did for us to come this far. Even though sometimes it do feel like the world is going backwards, you still have to think about how far we have come from even then.
Yeah.
I mean, regardless to some of the things that are happening today. Thank you for Aaron. And thank you for that, Aaron. It was awesome. It was some things that I did not know personally.
Yeah,
So,
some things I knew and some things I didn't. So thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, that was very, very interesting. So Tim, let's dive straight in. Let's dive straight in. Straight in, no life jacket. Psych, I'm just kidding because listen. So the first question is, what do you think a good financial goal is for a teen, college student, young adult, or young adult?
A teen,
a college student,
or a young adult.
Mm-hmm.
I tell all of them now. The best thing that you have on your side is time. When I was 19 years old, a guy used to always try to hammer into me, save $5 a week. Or he said, no, save $20 a week. I was like, I can't do that. Save $10 a week. Like, I can't do that. And he was the one regardless of my education, he was the one that taught me the practical understanding of what I call the ninth wonder of the world, compound interest.
Mm.
If you have a job and you can invest now as a team,
Mm-hmm.
open up a, you know, people don't want to hear retirement accounts, but open up an investment account or Roth IRA. Because if you do that early, if you do that at 16, 17 years old, one of the things that I talk to people about this concept of called the lazy millionaire.
Okay.
Time and compound interest.
Okay.
Just put money in early, even if it's just a little bit. Leave it there. Develop the habit of leaving that money there in that account. And before you know it, you know, 20, 25 years, that account alone should make you a millionaire.
Wow. Okay.
So start now. Time,
I like
compound interest.
that. I like that idea. And that was a question that I had since you made the comment to that question, is that sometime you are making money and like you just recently said, you know, I don't have the money to save. So I know people look at it like, okay, I make $300 a week and I have to pay this and I have to pay that and I have to pay this. How am I going to afford to save anything? And so that is that kind of answer. I mean, do they start with $1? Do they start? I mean, because any penny saved is good, right?
You know, so any penny saved is good, and yeah, you can start with $1, start with $5. But you know, if you back up and say, "Well, I make $300 a week, I have to pay this, I have to pay that." One of the things I would encourage you then is a lot of times people try to save after they've created their lifestyle.
That's a good point.
You have to create your lifestyle after you made savings a habit. So if
That's
you know
good.
that you make $300 a week, that's $1,200 a month. If you have in your mind and say, you know, I'm gonna save $100 a month, then your lifestyle needs to be created off of $1,100.
Okay.
It's not. So if I need to cancel some subscriptions, if I need to do this, whatever you got to do to say I have to save $100, and then my lifestyle comes after that, after the savings, and then after my other, you know, essential obligations. Savings should never be what's left. Let me try to figure it out.
Okay.
It should be, what do I need to stop or adjust? Make
To get to this goal.
Yes.
That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. And I think sometimes you do have it backwards because people just are financially illiterate. And so they have it backwards. Like, okay, I know I have to save, but I want to do this and I want to do that. So, but if you put that first, that actually makes perfectly good sense. So for me, you know, like I've said before when you were here, my mom was because she's retired, but she's still go to work. I don't even know how that works out. But anyway, she was the vice president for the financial institution. So we always grew up with somebody kind of over our heads about money and opening us up to start a little line of credit when we were 16 with $100 credit card or whatever. And she was honest, like, okay, you better pay that back or you better do this. So we grew up with that, but a lot of people did not. So people would ask me like, you know, you are so good with money. And I'm like, no, because my mother be on my back. You know, like she literally be checking our stuff. Like, did you pay your car note? Did you pay this? And not that I probably wouldn't have, but I think that helped me form the habit because I knew she was going to ask, right? But everybody did not have that. So I'm glad that you're here so people can get a little taste of what it's like to have that type of a parent today. Okay.
No, and I'm glad to hear the story about your mom. I mean, a lot of us did not, like you said, a lot of us did not grow up with that. I mean, a lot of us follow habits. You know, for me, the habit was, you know, you manage bills the best way you can, and if you can't, when the phone rings, either you don't answer it, or if you make a mistake,
Right.
you just gotta be like, my mama said she ain't here right now. Click.
pretend like you somebody else. Right?
I mean, that was the, you know, that was, you know. So I'm glad to hear. I'm always glad to hear, you know, people who they, you know, the generation before them taught them and they didn't have to have a
Right.
lot of
Tim, do you have a window or something that's open, like that's
I don't,
giving you
that
sun?
just started. So what? If you give me a second here, because the
I
sun is
can.
going down, so that's
Yep.
kind of weird. So I'll let you guys go ahead. So sorry.
Oh no,
Yeah.
no problem. I just don't want you to look back at this video and see that you look kind of washed out.
Is that better?
Yep, that's much better.
Sorry about that.
Oh no, it's no problem. I just like
Yeah.
for
So the
everybody.
sun started going down and right down in my window. So sorry about
Yeah, perfect. No worries. I just like for people to look back at the video and be like, you know what? They could at least
that.
told me to close the
No.
window. You know.
Thank you. Thank you.
So okay, Aaron, I do have, Tanya gave me a laundry list, and for those who don't know, Tanya's son is in town and he had a game, so she was hoping to pop in. She may pop in, she may not, but she wanted to be at that game, and that's fine. Tim is actually Tanya's family, so I'm proud to take on her family member guest and facilitate this.
Y'all
So
family.
Aaron, did you have a question before I go to Tanya's laundry list she's given me?
I do.
Uh-oh.
So, Tim, I run into a lot of young men, and I got into a conversation with a guy, and he told me his situation. His situation is he has 2 children, and he pays child support to. I don't know if it's his ex-wife or girlfriend. She gets, when we were getting stimulus money from the government, she got all of that. So she gets stimulus, she gets the child support, and she gets all of the income tax because he never claims the children. So it's not written down that he has to do that. He's just saying, I don't want to go back to court. I don't want to do anything. And I was telling him that he could fight that. He can do this. There's certain other things, but he's like this. Let's just keep it here. I'll just keep paying. But he's not accumulating any wealth. Given that situation, what would you advise him to kind of slither out of this trap or this situation?
Yeah. So guys are in that situation, and if he feels comfortable with paying what he's paying, not having to go to court and fight that, because it could be that might open up Pandora's, and he might end up having to pay more, right? But if whatever the courts are order him to pay is what he pays right now, then if he has to care enough to say, I want to be able to make something else to build wealth. So you have to say, what do I need to do that? Do I take on an additional job until child support ceases? It's just I'm not going to call it an unfortunate situation, but it's just one of those situations that's part of his situation. So you just have to say, what else is in me to do? Because the only way you're stuck is if you say you're stuck. You're as stuck as you see yourself. I mean,
that
there
is
are
so
many
true.
ways to try to make a little bit more money, to say, just if I do anything I do on the side, that's going to go towards retirement, building wealth, or what have you.
Right.
So,
well, I did. You tell me if I said the right thing. I said, but you can go to court because it's not written that she has to claim the children on the taxes every year. It should be some kind of give and take. He's like, well, do it.
And you know what? Again, I don't know what his situation is, that how that played itself out. But he could, but he could also take the position that, I'm gonna leave that alone. And there will be some honor in that. Hopefully if it's going towards the kids or taking care of the kids. You have to kind of weigh the risk.
Right. You do. You really do.
Going on that road. So, if there's potential risk, that can open up, again, Pandora's box.
Yeah, because that could go either way.
Yeah. Just to get some income tax.
Yeah, I mean, it's not worth it.
Yeah. You look at, like, if it's something like that. I mean, if it was like man, I'm losing $100,000 a year off of this. Man, that might
Right.
be worth it.
Right.
Right.
But if it's a couple $1,000s,
Really.
Mm-mm. It's not worth it. I that is the one thing that with in my divorce, with my daughter primarily living with me, he was just like, I don't even know why people have discussions about that. Like, why would I even want to take that away from her? So we just had a thing where that money just went straight to an account for her. And even all of her child support went straight to an account for her because I was able to afford to take care of her without that.
Mhm.
So that was just what we decided to do. But everybody
Yeah.
can't do that either. Some women or mothers or fathers actually need to use the child support, you
Mm.
know.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know his situation, but obviously it must have been something that came out of that process that, whatever was established, it's kind of like, you know what, I'm gonna do it and I'm gonna be done with it. And
Mhm. Okay.
so
Yeah.
sounds like he might just want to look for some other things.
You broke up. Say that again.
It sounds like he might want to look for some other avenues. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so number 2, with when a couple is dating to get married, when should their first financial conversation be?
Over dinner.
Oh,
I'm just kidding.
how far in, I guess, is
Be
her
like, I'm
question.
gonna pay this bill, but what's your FICO? I'm just kidding.
Right. No, that's real talk though.
Mhm.
Like, how do
No,
you handle
yeah, it should start early. I don't gauge, but one doesn't end marriage. But if you're on many dates, then hopefully, especially as adults, when you're talking about living your life,
Mm-hmm.
we wear masks. Especially in the dating, if you're in the dating world, when you get married, the mask come off, even if you try to keep it on, right? But
Definitely.
if you're an adult, making money, paying bills, that's a part of your world. If you can't have those real conversations at some point early on,
Mm-hmm.
then
Mhm.
it won't be in the first day, but it'll
Yeah,
it should happen.
it definitely she should happen early on.
Mhm.
Because
Yeah,
it's really important to me, what is your relationship like with money?
Mhm.
Are you a
absolutely.
compulsive spender? Do you just spend when you get excited? Are you a good saver? Like, those things are extremely important to know if this relationship can go somewhere. Because I don't, a lot of relationships break up over money.
Mhm.
Yeah, well, and it's not necessarily about how one person is versus the other person, because
Mm-hmm.
a lot of times when couples come together and they get married,
Mm-hmm.
oftentimes one is naturally a spender and one is naturally a saver.
Right.
It's about how you communicate that. And it's about, like, if I'm a natural spender, but if my spending habits indicate that I have no ability to take care of you,
Right.
then yeah, that's a red flag. But if through communication, if you're on the same page, then you can move forward. But it's how we are communicating or not communicating.
Agreed. I totally agree.
Mhm. Mhm.
Okay, so here it is, January. What is a financial resolution goal for 2023?
You ask the audience, or you asking me?
I'm asking you. Like, I mean, this was one of her questions. So
Oh, make no goals.
make
Make no
no goals.
financial. Make well in terms of resolution. So I say this, generally speaking, a lot of people stop trying to be like, it's okay to have that vision board where you want to be a millionaire, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you want to have a goal, I say this: master the hundredaire,
Okay,
master
exactly. The
being a
thousandaire.
thousandaire,
Right.
master what it means to save $50 or $100 without having to go get it.
Right.
Mhm.
You know, and
Mm-hmm.
then before you know it, you'll be at 1,000, and then before you know it, you'll be at a few thousand. Master the thousandaire, master the 10,000 there.
I like that.
That's the things that it will take. to
Right.
save money, get out of debt,
Mhm.
whatever adjustments you need to make that a goal to say, you know what, I'm gonna save $100 this every month. Because some people may not, when you look at statistics, and I said these statistics last time because they have not changed. 78% of Americans are, irrespective of their salary, they can make 30,000, 300,000, 78% are a paycheck and a half from being in financial trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Close to 7% don't have $1,000 saved for an emergency. They take care of emergencies on credit cards. So build a goal of saving a little money first and then building on top of that. If I had to give a
Okay.
goal.
That makes perfectly good sense.
Okay, so I I keep going back to the young guys that I work with because I work with a bunch of them,
Okay.
and they talk about different scenarios. And I heard you say at the beginning of the show that you had some bad habits and some disciplines that you had to learn. What were some of those bad habits, and what were the disciplines that remedied them?
For real. Going all the way there. You know what? Man, you know what? Every man, I was dating. I was making a little money. I'm just starting off, making a little money, but trying to keep up with dudes, you know what I'm saying? Trying to keep everybody. And here I am, I got these credit cards, multiple credit cards. And I'm like, well, I'm gonna use this credit card for this, but then I'm gonna go get cash withdrawal on this credit card. And if you get cash withdrawal on credit cards, the interest rate on the cash withdrawal is like double the interest rate just using the credit card.
Right.
So here I am living like I got money and I don't. And eventually it comes crashing down.
Yeah.
It does.
So that and I'm doing that instead of paying, I'm doing that while, like I said, I was taking care of the big stuff, my car note, insurance, and rent. But the utilities, it's kind of like, I'm how much behind on this? Okay, so we use a check for that, and I, not eating, not having enough money for gas, just and we'll remedy that. I was dating, and this girl was like, "Yo, man, you make as much money." This was a little bit later on when I was making a little bit more money. She was like, "You make it just as much money as I make. You look like are you broke? I mean." She had a house, had stuff, and I'm over here paycheck to paycheck.
Right.
She was like, "Bro, why are you trying to impress me with all this stuff? Buy me this, buy me that, buy me this, buy me that. Why you?" I'm not impressed with that. I'm impressed. What I'm not impressed with is we on the same level financially, but you don't have anything to show for it. Yes.
That
Y'all
right
both
there. Because that's the truth too, you know.
Yeah. Stop trying to keep up with these. Stop. These young cats, man. A lot of them ask me that. I just tell them, listen, set a goal, stay focused on that goal. The right people come along your path, whether it be a female or whoever come up, and will help you or walk alongside you with the goals that you set. But you gotta have a goal yourself. Don't just be out in life just flying to your parents.
Right. Exactly.
Okay.
So stop worrying about other people with you, trying to impress them, because when everybody go home to lay their head down at night, ain't nobody helping each other pay nothing.
Yeah. When you can go to sleep without having to turn the lights off because they already. Hey.
Oh man.
I'm just saying.
When you go to work out, because that's the only running water in the shower and the gym at work.
Those real money problems. So the next one is, if the household income is $100,000 or less, how much should be saved per month?
How much should be saved per month? the household. You know, that's a there's no real calculation behind that. I'm going to answer it like this. So you want to be able to save 3 to 6 months of living expenses. So
Okay.
whatever you create your life, hopefully your living expenses don't exceed like, with house 30%. I mean, there's like a calculation of how much your utilities and house note and car note and all that other stuff. But whatever your expenses are, try to save 3 to 6 months of that, so that in case anything happens, that you have some type of cushion to handle the expenses that you created for yourself.
Okay.
So
Okay.
and however
And
fast you want to get there. I mean,
okay. I agree. And then, depending on how many bills people have too, I'm sure that play a factor.
Yeah, there are a lot of things that factor into that. I mean, if you got a lot of bills, to turn around and say, I'm gonna start saving this, no, pay those bills. You owe those bills first.
Right.
You can't.
Okay. Now I'm really curious about this one, because this is the big thing now, and this is her question number 5. What's your take on cryptocurrency?
I don't have a take on it.
Okay.
You know what? So we talked about that a little bit last time. So here's my take on crypto overall, because a lot of people ask me that. If you don't have an emergency fund, those 3 to 6 months, if you don't have another savings outside of that, if you're not investing in your retirement, don't come talk to me about crypto. Don't come talk to me about the sexy.
Right.
Because that's the sexy to you.
Right.
Exactly.
Do the non-sexy first. So I have an account that's called a fun account. It don't touch my savings. It don't touch my household. It don't touch any of my savings. It's just money I set aside that if I want to go buy some sneakers, if I want to just go do whatever. But I set aside some of that to say, you know what, if I lose it, it doesn't matter.
Right.
And I use that. And I don't think about it. I don't worry about it. It does not touch my household at all. But don't use that if you don't have those other things in place, because at that point I'm gonna start thinking that you're trying to use that as a windfall for bad financial habits.
Exactly.
Right.
And a lot of times people do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you got a lot of people crying now.
Yep. A whole lot of people.
Yeah.
Okay. So she want me to ask you, did either of you play the Mega Million or the Powerball?
Oh, either of us?
Yeah, people in the audience too.
I didn't.
You didn't?
I did not.
Well, I didn't, but it's only because I forgot. What about you? I told my mom, I'm like, oh man, because I'm not a lottery person. So I normally go by people on Facebook that say, oh, don't forget to go get your ticket. And nobody said that this year. So when they were talking about the numbers, I'm like, oh, my timeline is trash. Nobody reminded me to go play the mega ball. So what about you, Tim? How do you feel about it?
Yeah, so like you guys, I'm not a lottery person, but I will say this. Not this one or one before. It was one the other time it got to like $900 or $1 billion. I'm in the gas station and everybody in line, whatever. I'm like, what y'all doing? It was like, man, the lottery up to like whatever. You need to get you one. I was like, man, how much one of those things cost? It was like $2.
Right.
Like, man, give me one of those. So I did do it once, but no, I don't.
Which is crazy, because when you really think about it, your odds, the bigger it gets, it decreases your odds. I mean, the smaller the pot is, you have a better chance of winning. So it's kind of crazy, but just to see that amount of money, I'm like, if I hit this ball, first of all, my numbers getting changed. Don't call me. And then I got stuff to do. We're going to make some moves with this money. So I think that's the biggest draw in to make you want to go buy a ticket. And I promise there is not a church in town that'll say, I'm not taking your lottery money for tithe.
Right.
So
they're going to pray over that and keep it
moving. Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
So
I'm
go
sorry.
ahead.
Miss Graham had the same exact question I had about it's a tag on to the cryptocurrency
Actually,
because you know the guys I talk to kind of some like it, some call it monopoly money. Like you can't touch it. So what is it? I mean,
Oh, crypto. I mean, you can touch it. I mean,
mm-hmm.
again, the money. I mean, you can have it in a wallet. You can use it. You can convert that from the wallet to cash. If as long as you have it with a legitimate source.
Right.
But yeah, but it is monopoly, and it just should not be played with
right.
money that should be sustaining and building your household fund.
Exactly.
Mhm. Right.
It should be like the side thing, like he said before, if your other stuff is in order. Because, you've been able to flip some things over, pay for stuff with the cryptocurrency. So it's real. But I think people look at it as it being tangible. You can convert it. But he is absolutely right. So I totally agree with him because you have so many people approaching you about getting in,
Yeah.
and that thing, and I'm just like, okay, but every day you asking me for a ride, and you've been doing this for 2 years.
Yeah.
So get back, Jack. Okay, so what do you count as financial success or financial stress?
Financial stress. I mean, paycheck to paycheck, financial stress. I mean,
That's definitely stress.
Not knowing, if you are waiting on payday, when 2 days before payday come, and everything comes with it. I mean, if you're trying to figure out where your next meal is going to come from, all of that stuff. I mean, it's just stuff we deal with every single day. If you're trying to figure out, how you're going to pay this, how you're going to pay that, I got to move money, I got to rob Peter to pay Paul. All that stuff is just, that stuff is just, you're afraid to answer the calls, all that stuff. I mean,
that is
success
definitely stressful.
Yeah, I mean, success is, financial success is different for everyone. Being able to, some people say, if I make X amount of dollars in my career, that's financial success. If I can have X amount of dollars, in a savings account, in a retirement, that's financial success. I generally think though, if you can establish habits and disciplines to, minimize debt and save, I think those play into many people's financial success, because you can be financially successful making $35,000 a year if you have the right habits.
Right. That's very true. I used to look at people and I'm like, this girl make $10,000 a year. And how is she on all these vacations? And I make all this money. I don't know how she lived. I don't know her financial thing. But the point is some people they're managing their money in different ways. And so it's kind of like, okay, how are you able to do this? I want to know, because you clearly don't make near what I make. So I want to know. So I ended up talking to somebody one day, and she started telling me how she started paying off her vacation. So whatever vacation she was taking, she started paying on them the year before. And I'm like, smart. So I started doing that, because you think of trying to come up with all that money at one time. You know what I mean? So that was wisdom for me. I didn't know that. And I'm like, okay, well, no wonder she'd be traveling all over the place if you putting a little money here and a little money there. So
right.
that's
And you know what? To that point, people, we take vacations, but by and large, because Steph travels a lot, we rarely pay for tickets. At the same time, we have several savings accounts that we've identified. I mean, a vacation fund. So we're always putting money in that vacation fund.
Okay.
Plan vacations, a car fund. When we bought, our car, I don't even know how many years ago now, we just start putting more money into the car fund as if we were paying a car note.
Okay.
You know, so we just have different accounts that we just start putting money in over the
Okay.
years.
Okay.
So I'm playing.
Mm.
Very
Yeah.
nice. Very nice.
Mhm.
So you talked about the IRAs. She wanted you to talk about that. We talked about all of those good things. Every year, obviously, the tribute is to Martin Luther King. And we have to give a challenge for the people. So Tanya is not here. So Tim,
Mhm.
what type of financial challenge would you give to our listeners to work on for the year?
You know what? Oh man, I wish I would have known that before coming along because I don't have the numbers right now.
Mm-hmm.
But a group that I'm a part of, we used to issue this challenge of um, 52 weeks a year, saving money every week in a jar. I can't remember how much it ends up being, but like week 1, save $1. Week 2,
Yeah.
save $2. Week 3, save
Mhm.
$3.
Okay.
All the way up until it's like week 52, you put $52 in the jar. Again, I don't have the numbers in front of me,
Mhm.
but we used to issue that challenge. So that might
Okay.
be a challenge for the listeners
Okay.
to do. And you'll be amazed at the end of the year what you have in that jar, and you can say, you know what, after this, then I'm either going to put that money in the bank towards an emergency, or if I already have an emergency, and then I'm going to reward myself with a financial goal that I may have set up. Pay this off, or it's going to go towards a trip or something. I mean,
Okay.
I want to tie a reward in at the end,
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
but maybe do the 52-week challenge.
Okay. I'm
Yep.
gonna post that.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
Now, I have a friend who does that. We were talking to her the other night, and she said she puts 100 envelopes in in a box, and she marks one to 100, and she randomly picks one out. And if she picks out 59, she'll put $59 in that envelope. She says she
Hmm.
does it 3 times a week, but you really are supposed to do it 1 time a week. And at the end of that, she'd have like $5,000.
Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's what you were saying, but on a bigger scale.
Yeah.
See
Yeah. It won't
me
be 5. Yeah. It'll be like, I can't remember. It's like, is it 800 something? I can't even remember, but same
see
concept.
me the first day I'll pick that envelope, it'll say $100. I'll be like, the devil is a liar. I would throw that envelope back in there and be
But you know what though? If you get that 100 the first week and you bite the bullet and do it, the muscle starts.
I
it's
guess you
the
got a
muscle.
point because the envelope
It's the
don't go
muscle.
back in there.
Right. Then
Okay.
it
Yeah.
Okay.
comes out. Yeah.
Yeah.
But then there's
After that,
99.
it's all downhill from there.
It's all
You ain't gonna hit
downhill.
100 again. I mean,
Yeah. 99 and
Okay.
98 is coming.
Okay, I guess you guys got a point. You got a point. So listen, take that challenge. I'm gonna post it because I have seen that what Tim is talking about float across social media. So I'm gonna go and find it and then I'll put it up on social media so you guys can follow that challenge. That's
tag
actually
me in.
I definitely will. So Tanya and I definitely and she said she wanted to thank you guys personally for starting the accounts for her kids.
Roth
And
IRAs.
she wanted me to say thank you for that, publicly for that. And one more question before we take off. Do you think people should use the match for their retirement if your company offers that plan? A lot of people think they can't afford to do that.
You can't afford not to. You just leaving free money on the table.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So if your company is, if your company is matching 3% and you only contributing 2, you're leaving 1% on the table.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, you can't afford not to contribute to your 401k even if your company is not matching.
Mm-hmm. That is very true.
Mm-hmm.
That is very true. And I'm going to say, try to do like that adjustment thing that he said earlier, savings come off top. And if they're matching, take the money, because nowadays, the way companies and stuff are trying to cut costs and cut things, that's still an awesome benefit to have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I say
And
take
don't
it.
make it. No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. I'm good. I'm just talking.
No, I was gonna say take that and don't make it like a big, chore. So if you can only afford to contribute what they match, let that be your baseline.
Mhm.
And then every year, just increase it 1%. When you get a raise, they're typically giving you at minimum maybe 2%, 3% raise.
Right.
So if you
Okay.
increase your 401k by 1%, you're still getting a raise. Some of that is
Mhm.
going into your 401k.
Right.
And before
Right.
you know it, and it's not, you don't feel it, but before you know it, you'll be at 12, 14, 15% before you know it.
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. Take that. Yeah, do it.
Yeah.
I say
Don't
go
try to
for
do
it.
big leaps. I mean, the muscle is not there for that for some
Mhm.
people.
Right. Okay.
Mm.
Well, we learned a lot today.
Yeah.
Thank
No,
you, Tim, for
I
coming on.
hope. I don't know.
You went all the way financially there.
Y'all some good questions.
And
I hope
we
I keep it real enough.
definitely. We appreciate it.
Mhm.
And so we want everybody to have a magnificent
Where are we going
week.
today? All
And we just
Where
challenge
are we going today?
everything you're going to be doing. I see a comment. I see something is being said in there. Oh, good information. Listen, everybody have a wonderful week. Take the challenge. Tim, we thank you once again for coming on and giving all your awesome wisdom to our listeners. And I guess we'll see you back again because, you got to come back, right?
Thank you both. I love what you're doing, Aaron. What you told me, man, keep doing it for the man. Thank you. Thank you both so much for having me on.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it. Have a good week, everybody.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.